50 movies in 50 weeks. I'm your host, Joey Hollywood, and I'm trying to get through all 50 movies in this box set in 50 weeks. Yada, yada, yada. The movie I watched today was called The Mad Monster from 1942. Last week we had a vampire flick. This week we got a werewolf movie. And when I picked this box set for this year, right, I was like, okay, there's a problem with this box set series. This is why, I said I can't do this series forever, is because a lot of these box sets have just repeats from other box sets. So I was saying I can only do 3, maybe 5 years of this, and I gotta call it quits, or else I'm just gonna be reviewing the same movies over and over and over again. And when I started watching this movie, I was a little worried that I already covered it. I was watching it and I was like, oh, I know this movie. I've seen it before. And I was like, how could I have seen this movie? I probably watched it for 50 movies in 50 weeks. So I started going through my entire back catalog as I was watching the movie because it was so familiar. And ends up, I have seen this movie before, but it wasn't for this series. It was because I had recently watched it on Mystery Science Theater. Occasionally when I have insomnia, I'll throw Mystery Science Theater on and it'll help put me to sleep. And that's what happened. The reason why it seemed so familiar is because I threw a random episode on as I drifted off in the dreamy dreamland. And so that's what the weird feeling of deja vu was. Now, with that out of the way, let's talk about the movie itself. The movie opens up with a blood transfusion between a wolf and, how do I put this kindly? A special needs individual. An offensive version of a special needs individual, which is what you'd probably expect from a movie from this time period. And let me say, when I say it is an offensive version, it is the Simple Jack character from Tropic Thunder. It's done exactly in the same way. One of the more interesting elements of this is what the mad scientist is doing to this character is he's turning him into a werewolf with the blood transfusion, which is a hilarious concept because just it has to have happened that the moment science came around, they started doing blood transfusions between animals and humans. It's just such a natural thing for it to happen. I don't even have to look it up. I know it's happened. And the idea that a simple blood transfusion could turn someone into a werewolf is such a comically childish idea. It's fun to see it in a movie and played straight. But what happens immediately after the mad scientist turns him into a werewolf is he starts having imaginary arguments with journalists and scientists. And the way they did that was he goes to a table and he starts talking to the empty chairs. And the imaginary arguments he's having with these people, the people start appearing in the chairs transparent, almost like they're ghosts. And he's arguing with them. It's such a fun little scene. And I think it really shows the insanity more than just him being maniacally laughing. It's a more, I don't want to say subtle, but it is, I think, a more effective way of showing that this guy is cuckoo. Made me more engaged in the movie. And it also made me go, I've seen this movie before. Did I cover it already? That was the point where I was like, I've seen this movie before. Because it's such a distinct moment. The main thrust of the movie is that the mad scientist is turning Simple Jack into a werewolf to kill off the individuals that he was having imaginary arguments with. He starts visiting them one by one with Simple Jack, and he leaves Simple Jack with them, and then he turns into a werewolf and kills them. That's the main repetitive motion of the movie. It keeps on happening, and it's just as exciting as you would guess. It's a very repetitive movie, unfortunately. There is a girl in it that is very nice to the Simple Jack character. She's always talking about how this place is kind of creepy and she wants to leave. There's a guy she's interested with. It's the standard 1940s horror movie trope. You've seen it a million times, but it works here. It works decently well. Everything comes to a head at the end, and I think it's a fairly exciting conclusion for this kind of movie. And I don't know, I liked it. Weird sense of deja vu aside, I did not mind watching it, and I would suggest it for you guys. If you like these kind of movies, go ahead and watch it. You can't go wrong with this. It's fine. I don't think it's the kind of movie you can really just watch on its own. It's something I'd recommend with a commentary or a horror host, or even just doing while you're cleaning or drawing or anything. I say that a lot. I apologize. I'm trying to find new ways of saying the same thing. But thank you for watching. I'll see you next week. Remember, please be kind and rewind.